In today's episode, I'm answering your most asked question, how I've been able to balance work and life as a new mom. Becoming a mom is a transformative experience, and juggling the demands of a career with the joys and challenges of having a newborn can sometimes feel very overwhelming. So today I'm sharing our birth story, how we're doing 3 months postpartum, and how Romeo and I have created our evolving family schedule to keep our careers afloat while spending dedicated time with our new baby. Hello, guys. Welcome back to the With My Own Two Hands podcast. I'm your host, McKenna Lee. And so far this season, we have been talking all about renovations because really that's all I've been doing. We renovated our kitchen for 6 months total, 5 months with contractors and tradesmen here at the house while I was pregnant, and even while we were having the baby. 2 months after we had the baby, so 2 months postpartum, we still had contractors here working on the kitchen to finish. And then I had about a month of my own projects that I wanted to work on in the kitchen. So I had all the pretty things, the hardware, the organizing, the trimmed out archway going into the rest of our house, the decor, bringing in our table, all of the things. So I had about a month. So total, we lived in the renovation for 6 months, and I'm so glad it's over. I mean, honestly, it was so much fun. I love living in a project like that, truly. But after 6 months, you're kind of like, I kind of want to do something different, and you kind of want it to finish and you kind of want your kitchen back. So now that it's finished, I took a little bit of a break. I mean, by little, I mean a few days, just to reset my mind about what I wanted to do next. I lived in that project for so long. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, now what? I've been itching to do something different, but what am I actually going to do? So it is fully September. I'm very excited to decorate for fall. That's the first real kind of thing and that I'm tackling in the house is decorating for fall. And then we're going to be tackling some more makeovers at the house, probably going outside to the front patio. It went through a lot, going through this renovation, because that's the main entrance to the kitchen that the tradesman took and my contractor took. So you think about appliances being dragged across it and paints, and we literally painted that whole side of the house. We stripped all of the windows. I did. So it's got droppings and glue. It's been through things. So I really want to prioritize that area because we don't have any furniture for it. I think it would be a great place to have morning coffee in the front because it gets beautiful sunlight because it faces the east. And I think I think that's going to be the next kind of major project that I work on. So I've been working on that. And I've also been prioritizing lots of projects in the house that I have never finished. If you've been following on my YouTube journey, you know that I do projects, and sometimes I need to do multiple of them, like specifically these archways that I did in the house. And sometimes I'll wait, okay, I need to do 3. Well, 2 are in this room and the other one's somewhere else, so I'm like, I'll do it when I get to that room. And I think I'm getting into kind of a different mindset of no, I really want to stick with one project and really finish it. It doesn't always work really well with my project schedule with uploading new videos and stuff. So that's why it's always been secondary to new projects, because I can't really film it and share it because I've already done it. I've been prioritizing that stuff. Let's tie a really pretty bow on all of the projects that I've done so far here at this house and then move on kind of thing. So that's what I've been doing. I literally have paint on my hands as I'm talking, paint and joint compound, because I've been painting downstairs. And my mom is in town to hang out with the baby and see the baby. He's 3 months old now, which is crazy. I took it as an opportunity to really get ahead on some projects, and she wants to be glued to the baby. I'm like, hey, that's fine by me. It's been really nice for Romeo and I to have just a little bit of mental break so that we can really get ahead and get some stuff done. So I'm very appreciative of the help, and I love my mom being here. So now that the renovations are done and we're moving into new projects, I asked you guys on Instagram what you wanted to hear on the podcast. What can we talk about? What can we dive into? And I'm not kidding when I say 80% of you guys sent in that you would love to hear more about how I'm juggling life as a new mom and continuing to work and, just like figuring it all out. And of course, want to talk about it, but also, have I figured it all out? No. But I figured some things out that have been working, so I really wanted to sit down and talk about it and my experience, and it was a beautiful time in my life, being pregnant and having the baby, and now 3 months postpartum. It's just, I've thoroughly enjoyed every second of it. Has it all been easy? No. Has it all been hard? No. It is what it is, and it's amazing. And I love him like I never knew love before. It's crazy. And Romeo and I have entered a new chapter in our relationship, and we've been together 15 years. And so 15 years later, we had a baby, and it's crazy to think that we could have a new chapter in our own relationship, but we do. Very much so. And it's beautiful. And I love it. Seeing him be a dad is incredible. So I guess it's only fitting to kind of briefly go back to the beginning. Like I said, Romeo and I have been together for 15 years. And, when you're getting out of high school and you're starting college, you kind of maybe not all of us, but I definitely had a plan, quote unquote, for my life. If I had to look 10 years down the road, what would my life look like? And, being fresh out of high school, I knew I was I want to be in fashion, and, I'm going to design school, and I want to have an amazing career. And I really had my life all really planned out, in order, not maybe a traditional order to most, and that's okay. I think everyone, thinks about their order a little differently. But I had a plan. I wanted to meet someone that I wanted to spend my life with. That was important. I wanted to have a great career. That was the second one. And obviously in there, I wanted to finish college, which I did, and get 2 degrees, which I did, and move on and work myself up in a job and a career, and be really fulfilled and happy. I really want to own a home. I want to, or be in a home that I feel really safe in and comfortable, because home is really important to me. Obviously, it's all my whole life, either decorating or renovating or doing things to my home and just making a house feel like a home. I really wanted a home for our family, and then we wanted a baby. It's kind of like you plan, and what do they say? God laughs, or universe laughs, or whatever, which is true, because you can't control everything in life. It just so happened that it really did play out like that for Romeo and I, and me specific. If I'm just talking about my own experience, me specifically, for my grand plan in life, that was what it was. I wanted to be to a point where I was financially stable as well, and if I could control it, I was going to try, right? But we can't control everything, and if things happened not in that order, that was okay. But I think something that did change my kind of master plan, was that COVID happened. It put a delay in my plan. It made something happen that I never had planned for, but I'm so grateful, because I think that everything happens for a reason. But when COVID hit, I found it really difficult to create my content for my YouTube channel, which was very focused on home decor and room makeovers and DIY projects. And I was really limited during COVID, from materials to, we had lived in our apartment for a while and I had already redone every room. I couldn't start over and it would just be a waste to start over and try and make over multiple rooms again. We got to a point eventually that Romeo and I actually took a road trip to see my parents in Texas. And while we were there, we kind of hatched this idea to invest in property. And that's when we went on a hunt for just looking at property around my parents. I really needed some kind of creative outlet. I was going stir crazy. Pretty much that was now pretty much the end of 2020. And I really wanted to do something. And we came across a property at a great price at the bottom of the market. I was like, could I do this? Is this something that I could do? And long story short, that started the whole cottage series on my channel, which is still an ongoing series because I want to get back there eventually to actually finish it. But because it had derailed, my quote unquote master plan, and I was now in this project in Texas, this ongoing project. I was in Texas for 2.5 years working on it, and my biological clock was ticking. My brain knew it, and it got to a point where entering into 2023, which would have been last year, I really wanted to start a family. I was 35 and I knew, I don't know, like it just felt like, I'm like, I don't want to prolong this anymore. I don't know how much longer the cottage is going to take. It's okay if I just press pause for a second. I had to talk myself into that, actually. I'm like, it's okay. And I actually needed a little bit of a break. I was kind of in that so long for 2.5 years that I'm like, I need to take a step back just for a little bit. We had been trying to start a family and it wasn't really working because Romeo and I were spending more time apart. He was in California working on and off, and he would come back and visit me. I was very stressed. I think my environment, constantly working at the cottage and doing lots of manual labor up on like 16-foot ladders and climbing on roofs and using power. I was just putting a lot of stress on my mind and my body. And it just wasn't working. And I knew I needed to make a change if I wanted to have a baby, and we wanted to have a baby. So I came back for my 35th birthday. I came back to Los Angeles to spend the summer last year. And it still took us a while. I was, to be honest with you, I was pretty sad. I didn't, I went through a phase where I didn't really know what was wrong. I remember going to lunch with my best friend, and I was just like crying. I just like, I could actually cry thinking about it, but I just didn't know what was going on. I had gone to the doctor and I wanted to see if there was anything that I could do, any tests that I could take or whatever. And they were just like, try for a year and then we'll regroup, like we'll see what's going on, but you got to try. And I don't know what in my brain just thought like, when you decide to have a baby, you can have a baby, and it could just like happen that fast. And maybe it does happen that fast for some people. And then obviously for some, it just doesn't. It takes longer. And then for some, it takes even more help. And because everyone's journey with getting pregnant and having a baby is so different. So there was a lot of intrusive thoughts for sure during that time through, we tried to have a baby for an entire year before we actually got pregnant. It was taxing on me mentally. I took my mom to Paris for her Mother's Day present, and I don't know if it was just for her Mother's Day present or it was just like I really wanted to go to Paris. We just really wanted to go to Paris. So we had planned this trip, and the world was back open now, and we were getting back into the groove of things. And so we went, and I remember at that moment, I was like, I let go. I let go of kind of beating myself up mentally about not getting pregnant so quickly. And, it is what it is. And it took me a year to let go. It's just like, we're going to keep trying, but I'm going to try not to put so much stress on my mind and stress on every time it doesn't happen. And so we went to Paris, and that was really the first month that I had really let my mind just like not get overworked about it. I think also we were in Paris and we had so much going on, and we were, walking the city and going to flea markets, and it was so much fun. So I was a little bit distracted in that sense. And we came home, and I started working on our bathroom makeover downstairs in our primary bathroom. And I needed to take a pregnancy test, and it just so happened that I was pregnant, and it worked. And I don't know why that specific time. It's just, I do know because it was waiting for him. It was him that needed to be in our lives. And gosh, I did not think I was going to get emotional talking about this stuff, but he's perfect. Anyways, we were waiting for him. That was the first time I'd ever taken a pregnancy test. That was the first time I'd ever needed to, even thought I needed to, and it was positive, but I didn't believe it. Truly, I didn't let myself fully go into it until the appointment. I needed a doctor to tell me. Yes, because in the early stages, you don't feel anything. You don't know anything. I wasn't really nauseous quite yet, which I did enter a time period where I was pretty nauseous during my first trimester. Didn't have any of those symptoms yet, so I just didn't know. I heard the heartbeat and I was fully in it. Like, I think that was what I waited for, was to hear his heartbeat. Once I got there, I really let myself fully immerse myself into the idea that we were going to have a baby, and I was so excited, obviously. And then our pregnancy journey started. So our bedroom looks a bit different these days, with a bedside bassinet and changing pad on our dresser, but it still feels like a cozy retreat every night thanks to Cozy Earth. If you're looking to upgrade your bedroom with quality bedding, you have to check out Cozy Earth. A big thank you to Cozy Earth for sponsoring this episode. You can get 30% off at cozyearth.com/cozyxo using code COZYXO. We've had the hottest week ever this week, with temperatures reaching 121 degrees, to the point that we even lost power at our house. So having bedding with material that's cooler to the touch and breathable was so nice. Cozy Earth sheets are celebrated for their softness, breathability, and temperature regulating fabrics, making them the perfect choice. Their sheet sets come in 17 beautiful colors, so you can easily pair your bedding with your other decor elements in your bedroom, and they only get softer with every wash. All bedding and bath products come with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty, so you can try out their products for yourself and really get to experience the quality and softness. This summer, transform your home into a sanctuary with Cozy Earth. Get 30% off at cozyearth.com/cozyxo using code COZYXO at checkout, and tell them that I sent you in the post-purchase survey and get a free pair of Cozy Earth socks. Romeo and I started drinking AG1 about 2 years ago now, making it part of our daily routine. And I even got my mom started to drink it because of the amazing results we saw. AG1 is a daily nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. In just 60 seconds, you can get your daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, adaptogens, and more. And we've seen huge improvements in our energy, gut health, and even the way that we feel. And what is a good supplement if your body can't absorb and use it? I trust AG1 because they source ingredients in bioavailable forms, making it easy for our body to use each nutrient. And their formula uses non-GMO ingredients and contain no added sugar. So start with AG1. It's a great first step in investing in your health, and that's why I've partnered with them for so long. Try AG1 and get a free bottle of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/XO. That's a $48 value for free if you go to drinkag1.com/XO to check it out. I actually have an additional pillow on our bed that I sleep with every night now, with a silk pillowcase from Blissy. And who knew that a better pillowcase is all you need for better sleep? Silk is what's best for your hair and skin, as it reduces frizz, tangles, and prevents breakage, because it keeps the moisture in your hair and keeps your skincare products and natural moisture on your skin. If you have a cotton pillowcase, it can actually absorb your skincare and products right off your body. Blissy pillowcases are made of 100% mulberry silk, which is naturally hypoallergenic, so you can sleep more comfortably without reactions. And unlike other silk pillowcases, these are the highest quality silk and are machine washable and naturally cooling. I've actually been confused by satin products saying that they have the same quality as silk, but don't be fooled for the dupes out there. Satin is made from synthetic fibers, while silk is all natural, which is more breathable, moisture wicking, and gentle. Being 3 months postpartum now, I have been very cognizant of my hair loss, so having a pillowcase that is gentle and good for my hair makes me feel so much better. Blissy has amazing reviews that you can check out, and over 1 million raving fans. Clearly, everyone loves them. They have a ton of different prints and colors that make great gifts as well. Try now risk-free for 60 nights at blissy.co/XOPOD. You can get an additional 30% off. That's BLISSY.com/XOPOD, and use XOPOD to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. I think honestly, growing up and even when I was in college and throughout my 20s, I was actually pretty terrified to have a baby in the sense of the physical act of having a baby. I think you hear so much, and maybe this is just me, and I'm treading lightly on sharing my story because I know that everyone's story is so different. Everyone's experience is so different with pregnancy and giving birth and having a baby, and everyone is unique. So I'm really just speaking from my own experience. I haven't compared myself to anyone else's story, and so please don't compare yourself to mine. It's just how it all unfolded. Growing up and in my 20s, I was really terrified because of stories, because of what I guess people around me have said. You watch movies and you hear, people like have such a hard time with it, or, all these like kind of scary stories. And I remember being pretty terrified. And they also kind of, when you're young, they're like, don't do it. Don't get pregnant. Don't get, so you're like, oh my God, like what the heck? So it was always kind of negative or scary thoughts around pregnancy and giving birth. And I think for me, even if I tuned out those other stories and what I had seen in movies and all of the things, I think it was what terrified me was kind of the unknown, because I personally had never experienced being pregnant before, never had a baby. It scared me, right? It was the unknown. And I've gotten much more comfortable living in the unknown as I've gotten older. I think if I would have had a baby 10 years ago at 25, I would have been in a much different headspace. So I wish, I hadn't have listened to all of those things or watched all of those movies about it. At least not focus so much on the negative or the parts that could have made me scared. I don't know what those are on the top of my head, but I wish I would have focused more on the positivity and the beauty and the blessing that having a baby really is. And I know that there were those moments too, but I guess the others were so much more highlighted in my mind when I was younger, so as I'm older, I focus more on those positive things. Right after I had Cade, our baby, I did an entire birth story video where I really shared the raw, feelings that I was feeling very quickly after giving birth. And I have that video up on my vlog channel that I'll link for you guys if you want, if you haven't seen it or you want to check it out. Giving birth to our son and being pregnant and all of the above was the greatest, most empowering, coolest thing that I have ever done. And I think I've done some pretty cool things in my life. No, that was awesome. Now, I definitely didn't have an easy time. Parts of my pregnancy were hard. Definitely parts of my labor and delivery were difficult. But overarchingly, and I just breezed right through all of those issues because it was just the coolest thing. And I mean, I labored for 18 hours, 7 hours at home, and then the rest at the hospital. I actively worked on getting our son out for an hour and 40 minutes. So it wasn't just a piece of cake, but in the moment, after it was happening, I remember just holding him and saying, and my mom is recording and I have the footage because I remember feeling that way, but I didn't realize that I had said it out loud. And I'm like, how cool, what a cool experience. And that's the only thing that I could think of. I didn't think about how they, couldn't find my vein and had to stick me multiple times, how the doctor wasn't even there yet, so I had to hold off on delivering our baby, how there were a few complications in the process, and how it was 18 hours in and my back was killing me. I didn't focus on the things that I think could have deemed it hard or could have been a negative to it. And there were lots of things that happened, but it's just those were not a big deal. We just handled it. And what really got me through was checking in with myself when there was something that was harder or there was something that I was struggling with. I kept checking in with myself and reminding myself that my body was made to do this. This is such a natural thing. this is something that I'm literally made to do. My mind needed to trust my body and trust my body that it was going to do what it needed to do. And I was offered lots of things at the hospital that I didn't necessarily want. And I really wanted to have as a natural progression of my pregnancy and labor as possible. And so as long as I was hitting the milestones and I was doing, my body was doing what it needed to do to give birth to him, I wanted to continue on that road. But what I kept doing is I kept checking in with myself, and I kept reminding myself that this is so natural, that my body was made to do this, and it would immediately calm me to a level of like, I got this. This is fine. We're going to figure it out. I'm in good hands. I like my doctors. Romeo is here. My mom is on her way. She got there at 1 a.m. I had the baby 5 days early. Silencing the outside noise and checking in with myself and my own way of thinking definitely helped me through the pregnancy stage and the labor stage. And now even 3 months postpartum, I'm still checking in with myself and still reminding myself that I've got this and to trust myself and to do what's best for the baby and so on and so forth. And I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes that we do have great instincts. If you're a mom listening to this or want to be a mom, and we have incredible motherly instincts, and if we trust ourselves a little more to do the best that we can, I think we would surprise ourselves in what we're able to accomplish. Let's talk about outside noise for a second, because during my pregnancy and now even postpartum, more so during my pregnancy, I think, than postpartum. I'm not sure why, but during my pregnancy, man, do people have some opinions and they'd love to share them. Like, I don't know why. I'm not sure. And I think when you're pregnant, there's so much unknown, especially if it's your first, right? There's so much unknown. You absorb and take in what other people are saying, especially from people that you trust. This could be like friends, family, or the internet. Like it's you kind of are a sponge. You're trying to take in the information and make it make sense and debunk what's true and not true. Then take into consideration that everyone's experience is so different than the next, and what worked for one person didn't work for another. We're all doing the same act, the same thing. You know what I mean? Like if we've all been pregnant before and we're all giving birth, it's the same. We're all doing the same thing. But man, there could not be more different experiences doing the same thing than there is being pregnant and having a baby. Truly. And so outside advice and unsolicited advice, even from those that are close to you or not close to you, are just crazy sometimes, because it can make you feel a way that you don't feel naturally. You can become more scared of being pregnant or what's to come. You could buy things that you don't need. You could buy things that you do need. Some advice is totally valid and good and some isn't. And it honestly, from speaking from my own experience, it got too much. To be honest, I had to tune it out. I had to stop listening to the noise. It didn't matter if it was someone really close to me or not. I had to do my own research. I had to actively reach a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to see what worked for some person and take it with a grain of salt, see what worked for another person, make the best decision for me. Because the second that someone tells me, and this is not even doesn't even have to be related to having a baby at all, but the second that someone tells me you need to do this, you need to do that, my brain shuts down. My brain, if those words are said, my brain puts up a wall, and I didn't hear what you said after that. I do not like to be told what to do. I'm a grown adult. I love advice from people that have been through experiences totally in a constructive way, in a friendly way, in a kind way, in a helpful way. But you're like, if someone tells you need to do this, you need to do that, you're not going to be able to do that when you have a baby. Get ready because you're going to have to give up. It was always negative. Like you're going to have to give up your whole life after your life is going to be completely different. You're right. My life is not going to be the same. I would have signed up for this life over and over and over again because it's what I wanted. If I didn't want to have a baby, I wouldn't have wanted my life to change. I want there to be a new member of our family. Romeo and I looked at having a baby as an excuse to have more fun. We're like big kids at heart, truly. We both have great work ethic. We have done a lot of adulting in our lives. We're obviously in our 30s. We have really been through hardships in life together, not in our relationship, but like just in life. We've been rock bottom, we've been on top, like everything in between, but we're still such big kids at heart that love to go to theme parks and have fun and just celebrate the small, precious things in life, because why not? We have so much more fun when we're acting like kids, when it's appropriate, you know what I mean? Or when it's not. I don't like, we can act like kids when it's not appropriate. We're youthful in a lot of ways, and we wanted an excuse to stay youthful even as our age number grows. I remember we would always want to borrow our nieces when they were little so that we could go trick-or-treating with them, so that we could steal their candy. That was Romeo and I, for sure. We just love to do that stuff. So we saw having a baby as like a huge excuse to just do all the things that we love without kind of feeling embarrassed about it. We're just so happy. Protecting your peace when you're pregnant and about to have a baby, and even postpartum, is incredibly important. That's what I focused on, was protecting my peace. So outside noise had to stop. End of story. I had to just limit it and focus on my own experience and gain the knowledge by research and listening to the stories that I felt could be helpful for me. I also contribute so much to my mindset. So protecting my peace was just the start. I'm naturally a very positive person. I naturally look at every situation and everything as the glass is half full and never half empty. I always like to look for the silver lining, or the lesson that I can learn from something and be better next time. I can recognize that there were negatives, but I don't harp on them. I don't focus on them. And I'm also a very patient person. And I've always seen my patience come through in my projects. I have a lot of patience to work on, small projects and really spend the time. I don't really feel a need to rush it, kind of thing. And I can really immerse myself into something for a long time, and I have the patience to see it through. Also have seen it over the last 3 months, the patience that I've had with the baby and myself. Really myself, and patience with us as a couple, and patience with us with a baby, to learn and understand and have the patience to figure out why he's crying or what he needs, and without changing my temperament. So in those moments during the newborn stage, when we weren't getting a lot of sleep and we were trying to figure out how to do all the things, I definitely saw the patience coming through in that. And that I'm really grateful for, and that I'm really happy that I was a little older, because I think my patience and my positivity have always been there, but they're definitely more prevalent now that I'm a little bit older. So one of the questions that you guys actually sent in was basically how I thought my life would look with a baby versus how it actually is. So like reality versus what I thought. And honestly, I didn't think too much about it. I didn't think about the details, I guess. I think we focus so much on, like, we're so excited about having a baby because we're going to be able to do all of these other things, like all of these things, like just the fun. Romeo and I really focused on the fun. We get to see the world in the first times through his eyes, all of his first holidays, and the first time he's seeing like a pumpkin, like we're going to go to a pumpkin patch for fall. Like the first time he's seeing a pumpkin and, kind of teaching him what that is, and just seeing all of the positive and the beauty in the world. And I know we can get so jaded by the world, and all that comes with it. At the same time, there is so much beauty if you choose to focus on it, and so much positivity if you choose to focus on it. I don't really think that I thought, oh, my life is going to be or change so much or be totally different. Romeo and I both just thought about all the ads, all the additions that we were going to get to do. I don't know if that's actually what it's going to look like, because we're not there yet, but I think that if we thought that and we want that to happen, it will. And that will be what our lives look like, So it's not really different. I didn't think it would be one way, and it's totally different. One of the conversations Romeo and I actually had while I was pregnant was how we were going to share our baby, because my job and me as a person is a public figure. I have a large following on YouTube and Instagram, and my content is very much centered around my projects, my home decor projects, my renovations, but also my life. And I have an entire channel that's dedicated to just sharing behind the scenes of my projects and my life. And so I really wanted to make sure that we were aligned in what that looked like in terms of sharing my life moving forward, what we wanted to share, how much of our baby we wanted to share, were we going to share him at all? And we had lots of conversations about it because I wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. And this isn't just me making a decision for my life anymore. This is our son is a full person. That was a wild concept. When he got his first letter in the mail, like with his name and his address, I was like, oh my gosh, he's like a full-on person. It's insane thinking about that. Like I'm making a decision for this other person, and I have never, through my entire career on YouTube and sharing my life, I have never wanted to force anyone to be on camera. My mom loves she lets me film her whatever I want. Thanks, Mom. I hope she does. Well, she doesn't complain, so she loves it. Romeo definitely has some reservations about being on camera, so he'll kind of be in and out, but he's always there, but he's always behind the camera, so he doesn't fully like to be always front facing on the camera. So when I thought about the fact that I don't force anyone else, it's always their choice to be on the camera, but my baby can't vocalize that choice. I need to continue with caution in terms of like him and what maybe he would want out there later on, but also at the same time, he's so cute and I just want to share him, and he's just so adorable. And like my audience, most of you guys have been along on my journey for years that I've been online, and I never wanted to come across as I was hiding him. Like I feel like sometimes when I followed maybe another person online for a long time, and then they have a baby and I never get to see what they look like, I'm kind of like, oh, like I just want to see what that baby looks like. But I totally respect their privacy. I totally respect their decision. Like 100%. It's not my thing to like even discuss, it has nothing to do with me. But also I feel like, I just want to like see what your baby looks like. You know what I mean? Like I just like what I feel like they're hiding something from me, but that's not the case, and they have to do what's right for them and their family. I didn't want to hide him from, my friends that I call my community. I didn't want him to be like this secret, but I wanted to protect him and protect our family, and also not make my content all about him and my baby, and gosh, for the like on the other end of the spectrum, literally exploit my child for views. So we came to the conclusion that we didn't want to hide him because he's so cute, and it's just hard not to want to share a photo of your baby and something so cute. So we didn't want to hide him. We also didn't want my community to feel like they were being kind of like they were never going to be able to see him. And most of you guys have been along through my entire journey before even the idea of getting pregnant, and now through my entire pregnancy. And the last thing we wanted to do was kind of feel like we were hiding something, but we want to protect him at all costs. So there are definitely a lot of details about him and his childhood and his development and his everything, his doctor's appointments, his test results, like all of the things about him on a very personal level that I won't share. And also, we will follow the same formula that I've always followed. And that is, if something happens in my life and I think about whether I want to share it or not share it, I have kind of a mental kind of checklist that I go down. I think, do I want comments on this? Do I want opinions about this in my life? Do I want this made public? Do I want opinions about decisions that I'm making for me or my child or our relationship? If the answer is no, then we don't share it. If the answer is sure, maybe I want advice for it. Maybe it's something I feel comfortable sharing and I genuinely want people to know and to celebrate with us and people to like comment about, then I will. And that's the same formula that I've always followed. And if we follow that formula, we keep him safe, we keep our peace, which is the most important. But I do think when it comes to the baby, I am more guarded for sure. I'm mama bear and protective over him and just the information about him. So what you see of him is just how he's part of my life, and the focus is still on me, not in a selfish way, but just like it's still my content, it's still my platform, and we're kind of proceeding with caution in terms of like sharing what we share about the baby. I have not laid out the next week, let alone year, 2 years, 5 years, what's going to happen. Things can change, things can maybe become more private, things can become more public. I don't know what that looks like, so we're taking it day by day, and that's okay. So now that we are 3 months postpartum, Romeo and I have tried to figure out a plan, a schedule of sorts. We, through the newborn stage, we were very much both in it. Like we were constantly doing things together. We would wake up together at night to feed the baby, to change the baby. We were kind of a team. We were doing it as a team because we both didn't know what we were really doing yet, and we needed time to figure it out, and we were learning as we were going. Then when it got to we were a couple of weeks in, we started to each get more comfortable. So we started to allow one or the other to sleep a little longer. So we would take more shifts. So each of us would get like a little bit longer of a shift to sleep so that we could even function the next day. Then a couple weeks of that went by, and we started to really get into a groove of even understanding our own baby. I think that was the biggest thing. We needed time to just understand Cade. We needed time to understand how well he eats, or when his mood changes throughout the day, or what he likes versus doesn't like, or how to even be a mom and a dad. We needed time to understand him, because I'm really a fresh new mom. The first time I ever changed a baby's diaper was changing Cade's diaper at the hospital. My own baby's. My own. I have never changed a diaper before. I've never changed a diaper on a friend's baby. I've never changed one of Robbie's diapers, my nephew. I've never. I don't know. We don't live in the same state, so I never had really a reason to or an opportunity to. So really, I am a fresh new mom. I needed time to figure some things out. Romeo is a fresh new dad. He also had never changed a diaper. So we were really going into this like newbies, right? So we needed time to understand. And so once we got more comfortable with that, we slowly started to crave more of a schedule, more of a routine, not really putting the baby on a schedule. We really haven't done that in a very formulaic kind of way. I feel like some people you hear will have like, oh, my baby wakes up at 7 a.m. and then he's feeding at 7:15 and then he's eating at 8, or like we're rocking him to sleep at 9 for a nap, and he gets tummy time from this time to that time, and very, very, very like planned out. I mean, I don't know how you do that with like a new newborn, and we're only 3 months into this, and maybe we'll get to a point where it's more formulaic like that, but it has been the most natural progression for us with the baby. It has been the most natural thing to where we know his rhythm. We're not putting our own schedule to him, and I think we'll get to a point where we want to provide more structure for the baby, but right now it's like we just understand him and we don't overthink it or pack his day and over plan it at all. We're just going by instinct, and it's been really freeing. So once we got to a point where we were starting to crave that routine, we started really like sitting down and talking about what we could do in terms of our schedule. And I was like, okay, and I looked at Romeo, I was like, what days and times do you need to do what? Like, if you could block out certain days and certain times during those days to do what you need to do for work, for yourself, for your sanity, for your health, for your mental health, whatever it is, which would those be? And then I came to the table with the same things, like for my work, for my projects to keep, like I really wanted to keep working. What does that look like? So we sat down and we actually made a schedule, and we blocked out times for him, times for me, times together with the baby that were not working, because that's new for me. I haven't ever really taken any time away from work. I have always just been in constant work mode. That's been the biggest change, I think, for me, is this baby has really taught me to slow down and take a step back. And honestly, that needed to come a long time ago. Before the baby, gone were the days of actually taking a proper weekend or taking any time off. I'm constantly in work mode. I'm constantly writing down ideas or filming or thinking this is an opportunity to film, or, because if I miss an opportunity to film, I'm behind, and I'm constantly working. It's been my whole life. With the baby, it's really made me step back and being like, it's okay to just be. It's okay to just stare at him and make him laugh and bond with the baby. And it's been amazing because I think I needed it. I think I needed it for my own sanity and my own life. And I don't know. I mean, I'm very happy with the balance. I may not be doing quite as much as I did before, and definitely projects take me longer than they used to, but I still do them, and I'm really proud of them, and I don't get as anxious or overwhelmed with a project because it's going to get done. Eventually, we're going to do it, and it's all going to be okay. And it's having a baby has just like calmed me down and really put things into perspective, I think, in a really great way, in a way that I really needed it. So now we have a schedule that's working really well. Now, I'm not going to say like from the day that we had the baby to now 90 days, he's 3 months now, it was all easy. So right when I had the baby, my mind still thought and functioned like I was functioning before. It wasn't like a switch, like went off and being like, okay, this is your new life now. Here's the plan. Here's what you're going to do now versus what you did before. I was literally at the hospital, in the hospital bed with my computer, editing. Like the nurses would come in and be like, what is this girl doing? What is she doing? I was like, I had to get a video live. I had this baby 5 days early. I was not prepared. Like it was just like my brain was still very much in work mode. I just went right back into it, like no problem. So of course, coming home from the hospital, I needed really a lot of time to heal. I knew that I would take a little bit of time off after giving birth before jumping back in to my projects and stuff and back into work. But I didn't really want to take time off. I didn't really do that. Like when people would ask me like, oh, are you going to take a maternity leave? And I'm like, what am I going to call myself and say, hey, can you pay me to like not work? Like, no, like my work is solely built on how much I produce. And if I'm not producing anything, no money gets earned. It's really that simple. And the good and the bad side of being a business owner, I knew I wanted to kind of get back to work as quickly as I can, as quickly as my body would let me, but also be dedicating time to being a new mom and spending time with my baby, but also doing all of these projects and everything that I wanted. I think because we were in the kitchen renovation still, and we still had to finish the kitchen, otherwise we were never going to have a kitchen again. We needed to get finished. It really pushed me to continue working quicker than I think I would have in any other time. I didn't really have control over my schedule yet. I was like, oh, the tradesmen are going to come and they're going to start working and I've got to film it, kind of thing. But because they were doing the majority of the work right when I had the baby, it actually gave my body time to heal. So everything really worked out. I could just film them and edit my videos, and it was something that I could really work on still and still produce videos while also letting my body heal the way that it needed to. And I didn't know after the baby was born how my schedule was really going to look in terms of the amount of content that I produced. Would my schedule change? Would my content, change? But my content was a lot to keep up with before I had a baby. Now, after having a baby, it's even harder. I've got multiple YouTube channels. I've got this podcast. I've got other Instagram things. I've got a candle business. I've got the whole umbrella business that I'm running, and I've got a life. I've got Romeo. I'd like to just kind of schedule in and fit in times to eat during those times of day. So it was a lot before having a baby, and it was definitely a lot after. So over the last 3 months, it's been really hard not to feel guilty. When I'm with the baby, I feel guilty for not working, even though it's amazing and it's all I want to do. I feel guilty for not working because my mind just races, and I'm like, I should be working, I should be doing this, contributing to our family and the roof over our heads and all of the things and paying the bills. Those are all things that weigh on me. Then the other side of things, when I'm working, I feel guilty that I'm not with the baby and not with our family unit. I'm still working through that. I'm still trying to figure out the balance of it all. It is getting better and better. And I think that something just has to give. I am very much in the phase right now of prioritizing in my work, prioritizing in my life, and really figuring out what is going to work for our family unit, because our baby and our family comes first, but also we've got to keep a roof over our heads and provide for our families. We have to work. So it's twofold. It's a lot. It's a juggling act that we're trying to figure out right now. I'm so grateful that Romeo and I are both in this together and that there is two of us. I think about, all of the single parents out there that, have to keep all of the balls in the air and juggle so many different things. And I bow to them, how they are able to accomplish everything, and they're just superhuman, truly. Even with two of us, it's a lot. But I am so grateful that there is two of us, that we can really figure out a plan that works for both of us, relieving each other in certain times of days so that we can each get things done. And then we're spending more dedicated time with the baby and also each other. We're spending more time as a unit together. And I don't think that would have been possible if we didn't sit down and actually make our schedule and make our family schedule. We had to figure out, okay, on Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., McKenna's working solely, so the baby gets the bottles and this and then we prep the day before and all the things. And then Mondays and Wednesdays at night, he's doing something. We had to figure out the flow of things. And I can't tell you how much that's helped, because it relieved us both staring at each other being like, do you have something going on right now? Can I go do this or can I do that? And we both feel like we need to do something, but we're both not doing anything, but we're both doing everything together. It was too much. We had to kind of divide and conquer in a sense, while also making sure that we were spending dedicated time together, all three of us. So we're definitely figuring it out day by day, what works for our family, what works for our work and our interests and our hobbies and our baby. And every day is something new, because just when we think that we've gotten Kate all figured out and we know his schedule, he changes and he grows and he does something new. And I think it did take me a while after having him that I can actually let go of my old mentality. I think for so long I lived in the world of my career comes first, and I work. And I was always on and always prepared, and I always wanted to do the most because I never wanted to let anyone down, especially my community. You really used to me uploading multiple times a week, making multiple videos, always increasing my skill level to make bigger and better videos and do bigger and better projects and, just do the most, that it was hard to keep up with before having a baby. And especially after, I definitely keep reminding myself that I'm doing the best that I can. And if I continue to just do the best that I can, it's okay. It took me a while. I don't even know if I've really even fully grasped that or fully taken that, to heart and really understand that. But I'm getting better every day, and I try and film as much as I can. I try and post as much as I can. I try and put as much effort into my projects that I can to make them quality, because that's not something that I ever want to suffer. I always want to produce quality over quantity when it comes to my projects and my work, while also spending time with our baby, because this newborn and baby phase and then his toddler, these are very fleeting moments. They're not going to last forever. I want to remember like everything about him. And I take as many pictures and videos that I possibly can to savor those moments and capture those moments so that I can look back on them. Because I can't believe he's no longer a newborn anymore. I feel like I just had him, but I also feel like he's been in my life forever. I can't imagine life without him. He has already such a personality, and he's everything. So do we have it all figured out? No. How I've been able to continue to work and juggle being a new mom and also all the demands that my job brings in terms of the production of content, I really dedicate that to Romeo and I being a good team and stepping back and prioritizing the projects and the work that's most important, so that I don't feel like I'm disappointing my community either. And continuing to show up for my community is so important to me. So, it's all a balance and juggling both of them. So we're figuring it out day by day, and also staying very loose and kind of adaptive, like if that makes sense, it's almost like this schedule that we created may work for us this week and next week, but maybe in 3 weeks from now it's not. We have to change it, and that's okay. And being very comfortable in the change, because our baby's changing so fast, and new things are coming up all the time with him, and new things are coming up with work, and whatever it may be. So we're constantly pivoting, and we're living in the changing kind of schedule, and it's working for us. So making sure that Romeo and I are communicating on what each other needs and where we're at mentally, and just checking in and communicating and continuing to pivot and change with the growing demands of our businesses and our baby has been really working for us. And I cannot sit here and tell you that I have all the answers, because I don't think that really anyone does. They just have maybe a little more experience in their own way, in their own family, with their own children. I hope that gave you a little more insight into where we're at. We are loving being new parents. We are absolutely over the moon in love with our baby boy. I definitely want to have another baby. Not anytime soon, but soon enough, because my biological clock is still ticking. But I definitely really focus so much on the positives of my pregnancy and the positives after, even postpartum. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could do it again. That was the first thought that I had when I was still at the hospital. And we do want to have another baby. So that'll be a whole new thing that we have to learn, how to have 2 kids and careers and juggle everything. And already so happy with what having a baby has taught me in terms of slowing down and enjoying the little things, and just seeing the beauty of life through his eyes. And it's been amazing. So I hope that gave you a little more insight into what's been happening in our lives, and how we've been doing it all, and just trying to keep everything moving. And it's not easy, but it's the most beautiful, beautiful life. I could not feel more blessed. I could not be more happy. We're just over the moon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We are going to talk about something next episode. I don't know yet. If you have any topic ideas or want to send in any of your design dilemmas, I'll always keep the submission form linked in the description box below, or the show notes if you're listening on audio. I also record all the episodes for YouTube. So if you want to watch the YouTube version of this, I'm actually sitting in our baby boy's nursery right now that he has not slept. Well, actually, he has slept in here a few times. We've tried to get him a little bit used to up here, but only for naps during the day with the camera. That's the only time. More so when it was really loud during the renovation. Went downstairs. We moved him up here just for a daytime nap. He didn't like it too much. He was used to being with us downstairs. So I'm in his nursery right now. So if you want to see that, you can head over to YouTube, to the With My Own Two Hands podcast YouTube channel to check it out. And as always, let me know what you want to hear. Like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, or follow along on the podcast through audio, wherever you get your podcasts from. And I will see you guys very, very soon for another episode. Bye, guys.